Everybody, welcome back to the 16th episode of the Audacity cast. This time we have the director of gaming content and post-production over at FaZe Clan, Mr. Shawn and Jesse, I think. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? My name is Shawn, director of gaming content over at FaZe Clan.
My name is Jesse Lomax, aka Lazy Lomax. I am the director of post-production at FaZe.
Okay, so basically this podcast, this episode, why I organized it with directors of gaming content and post-production, was I wanted to let editors know the directors or the boss's point of view, right? The editors work under you guys, and a lot of people who are still starting out or maybe not in the professional industry yet, they need to learn a lot of things about professional work and how you guys deal with it and deadlines and what you guys look for in editors, most importantly. So I guess the first question here is, how do you, like, if FaZe Clan assigns you to get new editors, like, you know, right now you guys are working with Starker and Alex ATF, but let's say FaZe Clan wants you to get a new editor, what would you do? What would be the process for hiring someone new?
So I actually, we're in the process right now of building out our freelance roster. So recently I did just kind of put out a tweet that got retweeted by a couple people, and I got a pretty overwhelming response. And I spent a couple weeks and I interviewed 30 plus editors, all just, and onboarded quite a few of them into our ecosystem, and have started working with a few of them as we assigned a new project to somebody on Thursday, I think.
Okay.
So it's kind of touched on what Jesse said. It's relying on the community, find new editors. We also look at portfolios, whether it's YouTube or Behance or any other bodies of work, to kind of see what that kind of showcases that editor. That's going to be like the biggest deciding factor for us when we're looking for an editor. It's going to be their portfolio.
Yeah, portfolio is always number one.
So when you guys so I think I interviewed Starker on this podcast once, and he said he got to work for you through word of mouth. It was like, I think Tafa told him about you guys, and like Tafa told about you guys about him or something. So there's been a few arguments in this community about how, if the game of followers or the game of relevance is good or not in social media in the industry that we work in.
And followers aren't super relevant. As far as, I will say, a vouch from someone that we've worked with, it is a huge bonus, because then we know that person's willing to put their self on the line to vouch for that person. Because if Tafa says, hey, bring on Starker, and he's terrible, I'm going to think less of Tafa.
Yeah, true.
Oh, sorry, my dog is bugging out over here.
No, that's fine. Okay, so moving on, if you guys have with FaZe Clan, how sometimes you have like really sharp deadlines, because sometimes big events happen. You need to push content out as fast as possible. So what do you guys have as a workflow if say one of your players won a competitive tournament, and then you want to push out a video as fast as possible for that? Who would you choose? How would you direct them exactly? How would that go?
I mean, that's that starts the whole process with our live manager, Spencer. He will figure out what tournament is coming up next and kind of get the ball rolling. And it really is a huge effort among lots of different departments, to whether it be talent to book out all of the players that are going to be playing in the tournament, and then the content that we need for that. But for the most part, we have a very talented group of in-house editors, and we try to get it scheduled from quite a ways out, so we see what's coming, and then we can hit our deadlines as we need to.
Okay, so wait, are you saying like you guys predict before the fact if your player's gonna win, or how is that?
I mean, events are announced far after they've decided to happen. It's not like we decide to run an event and then announce it the same day.
Yeah. So, like for example, without without having any specifics, we have a tournament coming up in the next few weeks. Where right now we're in the process. We just finalized the creative elements to the promotional piece. And after a small group of us got together, we worked out the creative. We're like, okay, we think this will be the best motion designer or editor to take on this edit. Somebody that we've worked with, or maybe everybody that we're working with right now, all of our editors are tapped. Let's look for somebody else. And then we'll kind of explore. We'll say, oh, this kind of works best for our vision. We think this editor, this motion designer works best. We chat with them about the idea. We get a creative, a mood board. We lock in the actual concept, and then we'll kick off the edit, right? Whatever that is. And usually, so for this promo, it's about 30 seconds or a minute, and it's going to be about a 2 to 3 week turnaround. So we look for, we plan anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks out, plus the long-term events, but tournaments are constantly coming up without we have new tournaments coming up on every month. It's so.
But we're looking pretty far into the future and doing our best to get ahead of things, and we have quite a few calendars.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you guys, especially with Phase 5, there was a lot of hype around that production quality in that challenge. Because that was really some of the most amazing work I've seen, especially with the intro you guys did. So how
Please
was
stop. Don't hype Shawn up anymore.
So according to one of your editors actually who worked on that, they said that you guys were still making changes until the last minute.
Oh, so yeah, what we said before about planning ahead is definitely true, but we are still making changes down to the last minute on everything. It even with the Nude Squad edit that just came out very recently, that was getting changed up to a couple hours before it dropped.
Okay, so do you guys actually edit yourselves too, or is it just direction?
Jesse and I like to say, like, the worst case scenario we would have to edit. So like,
I'll actually let Shawn speak for himself, because I did start as the lead editor, and I do every once in a while I do cherry pick projects that I think are fun, and I will edit them. But I've been an editor for the last 10 years, and that is still my passion.
And I love editing, but I'm like,
he just hates doing it.
I would rather give it to more qualified editors. So I know there's top tier out there. So I say, for me, like, if the edit needs to get over the line, whatever needs to get done, I'm able to jump in. Whatever that is. But yeah, for the most part, or I'll just pass it over to Jesse. I'll just say, here you go, get this one over the line.
If you've followed FaZe for a while, there's a good chance you've seen a video I've cut.
Oh, okay.
For Phase 5 too, like, there was, the reason it was so last minute was because we were still deciding and figuring out who actually was going to win the challenges and who was going to be in Phase, because it was such tough decisions. So like, it was really, we only had a few weeks to create everything once we decided, and we were still deciding up until like the last week. So it was pretty intense for everybody involved, with like the editors, and then we had like live production, live producers, running the entire Discord channels. So everything was kind of like on the fly, and like we had really intense calls, and it worked out. We all came together as like a team. It was like a unit of I think there was say less than 10. It was about a team of 10 of us, and between editors and graphic designers and live producers, and everybody came together and executed and really crushed it. So it was a result of a small village, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So until last year, Starker and Tafa and Alex were working for you guys as freelancers, not actually signed to FaZe. But recently, you guys actually did like exclusively sign them to work for FaZe. Was the reason behind that to get to these projects with extremely sharp deadlines like done easier? What was the reason behind that?
I could say the main reason behind it is they showed top tier talent and top tier dedication to FaZe Clan. And if you're showing that kind of dedication and motivation, it's going to stand out, and the work it showed for itself, for sure. So all of those elements combined, but I think really just kind of sold it. It was like, yeah, these guys are for the brand, for sure.
Okay, and so what would you guys have like as a penalty, or let's say if someone fails to deliver on time, right? And especially if it's one of your bigger projects where like thousands of eyes are waiting for the project, what would your like backup thing would be? How would you recover from that sort of if you just like mess something up?
I mean, well, so I have a roster under me of very talented people that I trust with deadlines. For most of our bigger edits, they stay with our in-house guys. And if, let's say, a freelancer does end up with a very large project that's going to get a ton of eyes that is on a very specific deadline, I'm in contact with that person up to, pretty much constantly, because I can't take that chance. And if an editor was to like put me down to the very last minute and not tell me they were behind, and at the very last minute say, oh, I can't do this, something came up, then I'm probably never going to call them back.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think for Jesse and I, when looking for an editor, is communication. And that's it, right? Because if editor...
communication, punctuality are like 2 and 3 behind portfolio.
Right. So you have the portfolio that shows your work, and then the communication when working on a project, and just across the board. If something comes up and deadlines aren't able to be hit, it happens all the time. Being able to communicate that and say, hey, I'm not able to do this. I need help here. Something's not working there. That goes a long way than not doing that and then waiting till the last minute and then having an entire team having to scramble to fix, because the sooner that Jesse and I know, the sooner we can help, and that's what we're here for. We're able to give support.
We have a team of people that we can run damage control. I have an assistant editor who is the best clip finder / organizational server manager, that if we need something, like if Kirsty can't handle it, then we've got a problem and we have to get one of our in-house people on it.
Okay, so how many editors are in-house for FaZe?
In-house, so there's myself as lead. I have, we've got three editors, 3 motion designers, and an assistant editor.
Okay. Wait, so like you talked about, you put even a portfolio behind communication. And that's understandable, because some people do have they're really good editors, but they have trouble with team projects.
If you can't hit deadlines or communicate that to me, then it doesn't matter if your work's good.
Yeah. So if you'd pass out on a better editor for a worse editor if their communication skills were better.
I mean, if I can't hit a deadline, and it's like, we have clients and brands that we're working with where the deadlines are pretty strict, and if we can't hit that, it shows bad on me, so I'm not going to take a chance with somebody who can't hit their deadlines.
Yeah, because a large part of the community just wanted to know what is like the strongest characteristic you look for in an editor? Like that one ceiling point.
Cooperation's big for me too. The way someone handles notes and revisions is huge. It can get to a point where if there's too much pushback, it just gets kind of annoying, because I get notes from people above me. It's not, the notes I'm giving aren't from me, and if I'm getting a lot of pushback on them, then I have to be like, these aren't requests. You get to say your opinion essentially one time. If I say otherwise, just move with it and like kind of flow with the project. It's not yours. It is in the end our project. So I need you to separate from the edit and do the best you can to get the best project we can for all of us.
Yeah, that's like the biggest, I think, step for editors in the community is kind of realizing like, yes, this project is mine, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it for FaZe Clan, and it's sponsored by Nissan, and those, those key elements need to be hit to satisfy those brands. And it's not just like, oh, this is my edit anymore. Because it's, when you start out, it's personal. It's your edit. You're living with it for hours and hours each day. And
I mean, everybody's had the gut punch of the V1 getting the note back that is, all right, so this is a great starting point. And you're like, oh, like I thought that was actually a great first pass. And they're like, oh, well, we got a lot of work to do here. But at the end of the day, like, you need to take your producer's word for it. Yeah, you need to take your producer's word for it, because it's their project at the end of the day, and you need to get the best thing you can out of it.
So it's like how you're able to adapt with it, how you're able to like roll with the punches, and get the project over the line, I think is a good one. And that for me, my number one that I look for in the editor, I'd say is I'd go to communication, right? Just communicating, and then everything else follows underneath, behind it. If we have a great communication line, whatever that is, then I think everything else can kind of open up 100%. Then that opens up the avenue to discuss whatever. If anything comes up, you're able to communicate it.
Yeah, true. So like if there's, you have for example, the FaZe Valorant project, when Starker came on, he told me that you guys were actually working on it for a month, and then you scrapped the whole thing when Liquid came out with their video, and you tried a whole new different thing. So did you guys just not have a deadline with that, or what was that?
So for Valorant, we were working on it. We saw we were working on it. The team was introduced. We had individual introduction videos for the team. So we weren't worried about necessarily introducing the team. This is more of like a hype reel for the team, right? So we were working on it. Liquid dropped their video, and we're like, "This is really good." Enigma crushed it. Let's one up it. Why not? And so that's what we did.
And so you brought
time to one up it.
Yeah. So
we just took an extra month. Really looked at the edit. Let Hamoud, Starker, and Tafa dive in with their entire team, and they made masterpiece. In my opinion, I think that's the best Valorant edit that's been put out ever. I will dare anyone to challenge me because there isn't one better.
He's saying, "Please at me, everybody." At @_doc.
Literally not a single. There's no better edit.
You heard him, editors. At him your Valorant edits.
Yeah, because when I saw Enigma's edit, I was really like shocked too. I was like, that is really good. Especially because Valorant just came out, and the editing community with that game is just already so good. But then, and I was like, no one can do better than Enigma. But when the FaZe video came out, I was like, okay, wow. So You guys did not have a deadline with that, so you just took your time.
Well, I mean, we had a deadline, and I was able to. It was my deadline, so it was an internal deadline. There's a thing I call external deadlines and internal deadlines. So internal deadlines would be something that they're for us. They're not necessarily. There's no.
We don't have
external
clients or
force.
other departments relying
Right.
on us for it.
Yeah, there's no external force kind of saying, "Hey, we need to do it." This take an external deadline would be the Rocket League announcement. We had to announce. Well, we didn't have to. We wanted to announce live on stream. They were playing, so we were locked in on the date because they were on stream. So that was an external date. We had to hit. We couldn't move that date, so that was an external deadline.
Huh.
The internal deadline would be the Valorant montage, where it's like, okay, this is kind of for us. This isn't really, we're not servicing anybody. We can move this date. It's okay.
So with the Rocket League team, I had a question because one of your Counter-Strike announcements that was edited by Starker got someone retweeted it saying that it would be fun to watch the video if they were you could see the actual kills or something, some hate comment, and that got a lot of traction because that person was pretty well known. Did you guys purposefully tone it down in the Rocket League video? Because that's what it felt like.
Tone what down? Sorry.
Like the tone the effects and the whole impact on every goal or shot.
Nah, I mean, we don't base our edits or anything off of what the community's saying. We just wanted to keep it nice and clean for the Rocket League edit. We didn't want to over embellish the edit with the goal montage.
I try not to read too many comments because if you go into any of the videos, you're gonna find some hate. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't ever keep everybody happy.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so is there ever been a time that you understand how much time it takes? At least even if you're not editors, you know how much time it takes to do a certain thing. And has there been ever a time that your bosses over at FaZe wanted something quick, but it wasn't possible in that time? Say it's like 3D, something like the FaZe 5, intro, and they said they wanted in like 12 hours or 16 hours or something like that, and it's like maybe it's not possible. What would you like? Have you ever faced that situation? And if you have, what did you do?
So yeah, I mean, you're always going to get hit with deadlines that seem crazy unreasonable. And as a post-production manager and as someone who does have a lot of time editing, I've spent the last 10 years in LA in different edit rooms, so I know how long an edit takes. I have to speak up and try to level expectations to get it to something manageable. And because we work with professionals that all know our word is has value, they take my word for it, and we try to move on to something we can achieve in the time they want.
Okay, so you guys actually can. So you have faced that.
Oh yeah, we have meetings weekly where we have to tell people it's going to take a little longer than they expect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Jesse and I both started, we kind of worked our way up in the industry, so we understand the process and length that an edit or a production or a photo shoot or even downloading, uploading, motion graphics, animations, rendering, whatever it is. We understand the process and length, and it makes us like have a better prediction on like, okay, these are your expectations. It's not the edit. We're not going to be able to get a 3D 30-second animation turned around in a week. It's going to be more like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we need to start today. And the idea needs to be locked. So that's where kind of Jesse and I come in and be like, if this is the idea, if this is the creative idea, if this is the move, then this is how we have to execute it. Otherwise, it won't be able to get done. We need to have a revision done in 4 days. We need to see we need to review revision 1, and then 3 days later we need to see V2, and then 2 days after that we need to be locked. And we'll have an entire post calendar, and going into the edit, we'll roll it out with the editor or graphic designer, or motion graphic designer, whoever is working on the project. So that's kind of where we come in and just like, okay, this is, and then we manage those expectations from the editor, like Jesse was saying, all the way up to like the executives, the sales, the client, and the senior leadership.
Okay. So what exactly has been the biggest obstacle you ever faced while doing a project for FaZe? Like some big problem that you just couldn't get past, or you had to mess everything up.
I think it's probably best we just move next question.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is just an edit change. That's the biggest obstacle. But just if it's a last minute edit change, but there's nothing too crazy for us to handle. That's why we're in our position.
Okay, so have any of you gone to film school?
I did. I went to a 2-year film program in Seattle about 10 years ago. It was a community college program.
Okay, so
Seattle Central Community College.
That was like before you started editing?
No, actually, I started editing in 7th grade. So I've been editing I started on Final Cut 2.
Okay. And you, Shawn?
Yeah, so I went to, I started out working out, producing music and on GarageBand and iMovie back in like 6th, 7th grade. And then, I did some classes in high school, and then I went to Musicians Institute as a trade school, almost like a community college down in Hollywood. I did it for like 6 months. And then I was like, I just got to start working. And then I just started producing and working in the industry, and kind of worked my way up, editing, producing, directing music videos, and the whole thing.
Okay. So you've actually been like directing real life music videos?
Yeah. So like, I have a media company where it was prior to FaZe, where I was just kind of doing music videos, commercials, kind of promos, pretty much anything I can get my hands on. And then I was also gaming at the time, just because I'm a hardcore gamer, and I never really kind of crossed the two paths. And then I met Femi, who we worked on a set together. And then like a few years later, I saw he was working at FaZe, and we connected, and he got my foot in the door, and I just it was just a perfect fit. I was like, yeah, this is.
Okay, so you've both been working in the industry for years now. A lot of editors that I bring on to the podcast, this is why I asked this question, are either in film school, or a few have even dropped out, and all of them say that film school to them isn't a necessity to do what they do, and they feel like they're wasting their time there. So do you have similar feelings about that, or do you think it's actually good?
I think it's good. The experience you get working, it definitely depends on the amount of effort you put into it, but the access to studios, equipment, maybe if you want to just be an editor, yeah, sure, you can get through. And everybody always thinks they know everything. Like, I thought I knew everything when I moved to LA 10 years ago. Turned out I didn't actually know shit. And I took a lot of bumps and bruises coming up, because but my time in film school was super beneficial, because I was with a dedicated group of 30 people that wanted to make film every day for 2 years, and we constantly produced content. And it's that type of work environment that gets you cranking out content.
Okay, what about you, Shawn? What do you think?
Repeat the question.
I'll also say the professionalism you can get out of it.
Yeah, that was actually
big.
That was actually a point.
Just the ability, to do a reply all on an email is huge. Like the amount of times I have to keep responding with a producer's name in the email to make sure everybody's seeing everything in the chat. It's like, and you just and set etiquette. There's a lot of like unspoken rules on set that if you're coming fresh out of high school, I guess you're not going to know, and you're going to think you do, but like you're going to do something that crosses a line or isn't what people expect.
Yeah, because Enigma came on the podcast once, and that's the only thing that was good about film school. Like he said, because he said he knew everything about editing because he's also been editing for about 11 years now, and he's doing university right now. He's in film school or university right now, and he said that the only thing he's learned from the film school so far is all that professional terms and everything, how to phrase everything, and the set etiquettes like you just mentioned. So yeah, that's something that he mentioned too. But moving on to Shawn, the question was that, do you think film school is actually a good thing or a necessity to become what you guys do?
I think it's like Jesse's saying, it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing to learn the tools to use, but I don't think it's a necessity. I think they're two separate things. I think it's great to have that knowledge. You're going to have a leg up on anybody else in the industry, 100%.
It also gives you access to tons of cameras and equipment that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, and I think the community that you can meet in film school is like it's better than any Discord server that you're going to join, right? So in that sense, yes, I think it's great, but I don't think it's a necessity. I think if you really love something and you're really good at it, you can do anything, right? So it's going to be how great you perform at your craft. And if you're excelling and you're crushing it, and you're crushing it, and you're putting something out, you're doing some crazy motion graphics, or your edit style is you're pushing the level, you're doing something different, whatever it is, like if that's the case, and you have something special, then you run with it. You definitely want to run with it.
Okay.
So we have, even across the board, not even with editors, with like project managers and junior producers, and some editors, there's the struggle of them going to college. They're part-time, they're going to college. They're like, well, I'm going to college, I'm going to go to school. I have 1 year to finish. Okay, well, finish college. You have 1 year to finish. I just started college, I'm 6 months in, but you're doing this. So it's the struggle of figuring out how you're going to weigh those pros and cons, because it's definitely,
I will also say that there's a lot to be said about learning traditional editing and like the way to cut a narrative, and a lot of stuff you're not going to pick up cutting YouTube videos. And not to say like cutting YouTube videos can be a career, it's not the end of editing. I think most people that get into editing do want to do long form and do want to do narrative and do want to know how to do a TV show, etc. And if you do skip film school, there's a lot of stuff you're not going to know how to do. And there's a lot of processes you're not going to know how to do. And there's a lot of just a lot of workflows that you're not going to be familiar with.
So if someone's not gone to film school, would that affect your decision to hire them for FaZe Clan? Like you said, communication matters more than their portfolio. Is that something that would just instantly say
I have no idea if any of the editors I've brought on have gone to college.
Yeah, I don't think that we don't really look, that's probably bad to say, but we don't look at like a port or a resume where it's like, oh, this is your exact credentials. We're looking at like the portfolio and work of art. Yes, a resume is great, but like Jesse said, we're not sure if any of the editors went to film school. We're looking at their work of art, we're seeing how their communication is, and we're seeing the output of work that they're doing. if that speaks for itself.
Okay. Well, that's about it for the questions that I had for you, and the tweet that I made to get questions for you. A lot of people were just shocked that you guys are actually coming on, which I was too initially. But there's one question somebody asked that says, according to you, what is that thing that most editors lack nowadays?
Nowadays.
I think, black nowadays. Let's see. Let's think about that one. It's a good question.
I'm thinking. I will say with the younger editors, for me, it's really communication skills. I mean, I did 30 plus interviews to build out this freelance roster. And over that course of those 30 interviews, there was people that were late. There was people that were just waking up from naps. There was people who just like seemed completely uninterested because they had worked with a couple big streamers. But for us, like, that doesn't really mean anything. And we're just looking at your work and how you're going to behave if we have to talk to you in a meeting. And I'm less looking at clout and more at your work ethic, and how you handle yourself in communication with the rest of the team.
So you feel like editors lack communication?
Yes, absolutely. I get too often that I'll get a message, whether it be on Twitter, email, or Discord, hours before I'm expecting something, saying, hey, something emergency came up and I'm not going to have this until tomorrow. And I'm like, one, I don't believe you, and two, I wish you would have told me when that thing came up so I could have prepared and tried to have something, because I probably have a meeting about the video later today.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, it's like there's a separation of like this editing, for FaZe Clan and editing in general for any client isn't like, it's not like school and homework where you can just get by and you can come up with an excuse and you can copy somebody's homework last minute. Like, you got to do the work. And if you're not going to do the work, like, you gotta own up. And if you don't, then we're probably not going to work ever again. It's simple as that. It's a cutthroat world, but like we honestly don't have the time. We move at such a speed where we can't afford to hiccup or miss deadlines for anything, no matter, even if that is it's a little bit of a problem.
It ripples our entire calendar. If something falls out of line, it's like my post calendar gets bumped multiple days, it pushes other projects back, etc. So we kind of need everything to run as a cohesive machine. Sometimes it obviously doesn't. We have hiccups because we're humans. We make mistakes, but it's about owning up to them and taking credit for, like, you gotta own up to mistakes whenever. If someone trying to dodge out on something is far worse than someone owning up to something and dealing with it right away.
Yeah, I would much rather have somebody say, yo, I fucked up, I can't hit this, or I need help here, or I'm not going to be able to make this deadline because of X, Y, or Z. I'd much rather have somebody come to me and say that than ghost me, or like not be able to get in touch or not be updated, because then that leaves us, Jesse and I, in a position of like, is the edit done? Should we get another editor on it? Do we have another editor that can do this in the time? Or do we have to come in and figure out how to finish this to get, like, it then starts a chain of events that otherwise, if the communication was there, would be completely avoided. So, like, that's the biggest thing coming out of I think high school and college and film school is like The skill set's there. Sure, you can bang out a dope edit, but you have to be able to roll in the world of like it's professionals now. So you need to be punctual on emails. You need to hit reply all. You need to know what reply all is. You need to understand Gmail. You should understand Excel sheets and you know the entire G Suite. Like these things shouldn't be foreign, and you should be pushing the boundaries of what you're doing and like just over providing, because there's a lot of opportunity and growth there for sure, and we're seeing it firsthand. Take Alex Waken. He tried out for FaZe 5. He was one of the 210,000 applicants that tried out, and I was on Yusuf, one of our talent managers' streams. We were bringing on different applicants. Alex was one of them. We watched his video, and I was blown away. I was like, this is one of the coolest animations. There's a GTR animation. I was like, it's one of the sickest things I've ever seen. I put him up to be in the top 100, and he didn't make it. And it was a blessing in disguise, because as soon as he didn't make the top 100, I hit him up and I said, I actually have a Rainbow Six project I need some work on. And he crushed it. Started working for FaZe, and then he ended up finishing the FaZe 5 intros. He created the entire templates for the top 20 cards, and then he created the entire arcade and city for the FaZe 5 intros. So somebody who tried out for FaZe 5, and FaZe 5 ended up actually creating the intros for the finales. And that wasn't even planned, but it was something super organic, and like that opportunity's there. And he just came in and proved himself. He just stepped up and he showed up and just kept crushing it. And it was natural that he took on that project. And it was because he was hitting all those boxes that we talked about. So the opportunity's there.
That's a motivational story in itself, like he gets rejected first, and then he just works on the same project that he was running for. That's crazy.
Right, and like that just happened, in December. That was a few months ago.
Yeah.
So like now, like we call him like the secret winner. He's the secret FaZe 5 winner, because he was the first one to win. He started working with FaZe right off the bat as soon as I saw him.
True, because I've seen that animation too, and I was just like scrolling through Twitter one day, because Enigma and Alex talk a lot on Twitter, just in threads, and I that was the first time I looked at Alex's Twitter, and then that tweet was there with the edit with the animation, and I was blown away. Which one? The FaZe 5 animation, the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
The especially at the end, how he makes the car crash and everything, that was crazy. And I was actually angry at the fact that it only had 40 likes, and I actually retweeted it and tried to get it some support. I think it was above 100 after that. But yeah, that guy is crazy. That guy is really good.
Yeah, he's killing it. Keep an eye out for this next tournament announcement.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is the kind of question I wanted to ask to end it all off. The last question I want to ask is, what can we expect from the FaZe production team in the future?
I think off the bat is right now we're looking at tapping into the community more, and we're already showing that with Alex and Starker and Tafa. We want to rely on the guys and the family that supports FaZe to really elevate it.
And then, but I'll say even outside of that, shout out to Femi, the GOAT. He's the one who brought us both on. He's always pushing us to make the coolest shit the team can make. So I'm gonna say shout out Femi, shout out my team, fucking Evan Motion, Philly, GFX, Stefan, you're the man, Kirsty, Rita, everybody, love you guys.
Okay, yeah, I think I only know Evan from those names, and even that's because of his
Evan Motion is our wizard lead graphics motion designer, and Philly is the right behind him. He handles all of our like tournament graphics, all of a lot of our hype reels. They both just crush our in-house look, and they are the originators of our, not the originators, but they are the they have our looks down so good that they can make anything look FaZe.
Uh-huh. I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
know,
we have-
I think I know Evan because of the Motioneers group, because I'm a big fan of the Motioneers group, Divinity and a couple others. I think Divinity, Novak, Evan, and one other guy. But
yeah, we have, you know, like as you said, we have like a couple different groups of like, you know, where we're covering all kinds of different hype reels, long form edits of just like, you know, documentary style.
All our branded content that we shoot in-house, we all have to, that has to run through post too. It's a lot more than just the gaming content at FaZe.
Yeah, tournament graphics, you know, tournament transit. Yeah, it's the list goes on. So, the jobs are on there for sure.
yeah, okay, so how many projects do you guys work on consistently? Like, you know, you're saying tournament graphics, there's an introduction going on the side, there's another video, and there's how much projects have you worked on
I'm
at the
gonna
same time?
count right now. I'm gonna count on our Monday. Okay. I'm gonna just look, and this is probably not even all.
It can be a bit overwhelming. Our current boards, well, because I technically oversee every single edit that runs through FaZe, whether it's ending up on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. I have to assign it out to somebody, so it's a lot.
I mean, right now we're probably looking at like 20, 25 plus of different projects that are like work of that, and that includes everything. You're right. That includes all kinds of content, all kinds of like. These are the different projects that we're working on, from like merch drops to tournaments to hype reels to announcements to intros to you know, regular just branded content, YouTube content, photo shoots, media days. It's like 20 right now. I just counted, and we're at like 25 plus.
25 projects.
And with it's kind of
Is that real?
no, it's kind of fucked up, but like things just died down too. So like
it is a little quiet right now.
it was like 35. Like 35, it was like a little like, where we were like, holy shit, this is a little intense.
Wow.
25 is a little more manageable.
14,
So this is one of your less busy weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
25.
Right? Tell me, like I'm not around.
No,
Wait.
yeah, I'm looking. It seems about right.
Yeah, it's like
So-
23, and then there's a couple.
Well, a lot of the projects on our board are in pre-production right now, so we're just like planning down the road and trying to make sure everybody's calendars align so we can hit our
Fill all
deadlines.
the fucking calendar.
Wow. That is crazy, actually. Because I think I know who you assigned a project to on Thursday, like you mentioned in the start. Because, wait, do you mind me saying the name?
Say again.
Do you mind me saying the name of the person who you assigned the project to? Because I think I know who it is.
Oh,
I don't even know. Like honestly, I don't even know what project you're talking about.
So you like right at the start of the podcast, you guys said you assigned someone a project on Thursday, a new editor. And I think I know who that is. So I was just saying, like, can I say their name? Do you mind that?
no, it's fine.
Well, so last night I was on Brevax's stream, and I told him that you guys were coming on, and he said that you guys had a meeting like a couple of days ago. So I think that's the guy you assigned the project to, because I did ask him if he was working for FaZe, and he was like something like that. So, I mean, yeah, good luck on your project. I'm excited to see your work. I mean, it's FaZe's production team has always been one of my inspirations. It's crazy. And when I got to interview Starker and Timur and Tafa, the whole Valorant team, that was like an honor in itself. So yeah, I love you guys' work. I'm looking forward to more of FaZe's things, because it's just one of the
Yeah,
Awesome.
we
It's gonna-
appreciate that. Man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I mean, we're all about it. You know, we love the support. Yeah, we have what's it? How do you pronounce the name?
Brevax.
Brevax. Yeah.
Brevax.
Well, his name is Brandon. Just say that.
Yeah, Brandon.
Okay. Yeah, he's working on a Fortnite yeah, he's working on a tournament edit where
Okay.
we're working on a project.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen a Fortnite edit from FaZe in a while. Actually, I think the last one I saw was by Divinity.
Yeah, I mean, we just put out a couple that just dropped on YouTube. But yeah, there wasn't like an actual Fortnite. You know, we had the Scented video introducing FaZe Scented.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're right.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast because I asked all my questions and the audience didn't have to say much except for wow. So, thank you both for coming on. Obviously, you guys have really hectic schedules, like 25 projects. That I'm still wrapping my head around that. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys taking out the time, and even especially when I kind of, fricked up our time. It's just like because of our time zones. It's 9 p.m. for you, 9 a.m. for me.
Yeah, no stress, man. We're chilling. We roll with the punches.
Yeah. So actually, a lot of people, like when I announced it, a few of my friends when I was in a voice chat with them, they were just like, "Are you working for FaZe secretly?" Because see, I don't like to announce things when when I got a follow back from someone I really look up to recently, but I can't put that screenshot or I can't tell that to anybody because I want to bring that person in the future on the podcast, and I don't want anyone else to know that this person might be coming on until I actually announce it. It keeps that hype constant. So a lot of people doubted that I was actually working with you guys, but no, I'm not that good yet. Hopefully one day. So yeah, I mean, yeah, at the end, just thank you guys for taking out the time to come on. And it was amazing to talk to you guys. It's always been a dream to just know how things work inside FaZe.
Yeah, man.
So
appreciate the conversation. Yeah, anything we can do to help the community and give everybody a heads up.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much. That will be at the end of episode 16. Is there anything else you'd like to say, either of you?
Nah, man.
FaZe up.
FaZe up, baby.
FaZe up. Okay. Goodbye. I'll see y'all next week.
Cool. All right, man. I'll see you.